didn't know he was going to change the entire world by fucking around online, but that's what he did. This freaking comic is an epic that happened its way into existence without any expectation to become what it did. And that is so inspiring, which it feels cheap to use that word because inspiring has been overused to an extreme degree, but it's true. It's what it does. It commands that we take action. It commands us to make commands, to insist upon doing something. And it does this from the very beginning by just asking us, what will you do? I could go on for a while, but I think that pretty much sums it up. That's what I think is important to me about Homestuck.
And that was Abby, also known as Space Arby's on Twitter, and that's just a little bit of what she had to say about what Homestuck means to her. I got a good number of responses from you guys, and I really appreciate you helping me out with this. So I'll just kind of go over some of the other things that makes Homestuck special and why everyone is still here. I'll start off with the age. I just kind of wanted to get a look and see about how old everyone was, and honestly, y'all are so young. I'm just teasing you, but no one in my age category responded, but so everyone was between 13 and 24. A pretty good even distribution there. So we got it looks like it's mainly the younger people, and it's really exciting to see even younger kids get into it because, you know, that means that they got into it after, like they weren't there from the beginning or near the beginning or anything. And I don't know, just seeing people kind of grow up with Homestuck is really interesting to me. So I'll get into some of the responses I have. So for why did you get into Homestuck? A lot of it was friend suggestions. So like someone said that a friend used to Skype with the person and they played Carcalicious over the call, and that was it. That got them hooked on Homestuck. Other people, it was from AO3, Our Tribe of Our Own. So there was just a lot of fanfics on there, and just seeing the community react to it got people in there. Or DeviantArt is another one. So either from friend suggestions or just seeing it all over the internet, people got into it that way. So like someone else got it from Jacksepticeye's Hive Swap playthrough. So that's pretty recent. And it's really nice seeing that people even now still getting into Homestuck. I'll say for me, I personally got into it because Jeff Jocks, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but he is the creator of Questionable Content. He drew a character with anime glasses, and someone accused him of being a Homestuck in like a very negative light. And he said that Andrew Hussey was one of his friends, and to not shit on him because Homestuck was actually a great webcomic. And I was reading so many webcomics. Like my Feedly still has all the ones I used to read, or most of them I used to read, not even all of them. And there's over 100 in there. So I had kind of heard about Homestuck. I wasn't sure what it was about, but, you know, the guy from Questionable Content, one of my all-time favorite webcomics, saying that Homestuck was good, that was enough to get me in. So it took me a little bit to kind of get invested into it. I think that's common for a lot of people. But yeah, I got into it, and I've been into it ever since. I've never had the, oh, I can't believe I was into Homestuck phase. I've just always liked it. It's not always been my forefront, but yeah, so we'll get into that. Well, why are you still into Homestuck? You know, people are saying it never dies. Twitter as a community is nice. You know, once you're there, there's no escape. There's just a lot. Like, people really love the characters and say it's well written, and just the whole lore and everything is fantastic. And there's one here I really want to read that is, the story enthralls you. The unique setting of the story allows one to make many more tales. It's a literature sandbox, but that's the setting. The greater part is the characters. They're all varied and relatable and are all funny. when they can be, and essentially they just love it. Plus, the community is strong and thriving, and the community is very open, and it's basically a lot. So I think that really kind of sums it up, is there is so much creative potential. There is such a large community and a very open community. And that's great. I'm still here because I don't know how to let things die. No, so I wasn't super into the Homestuck fandom for a little bit. I never really got super into the fandom side of Homestuck. I kind of just read it and appreciated it and saw it on Tumblr on occasion. I was mostly into Dragon Age, and I'm still really, really into Dragon Age. I almost made a Dragon Age podcast instead of a Homestuck one. Just recently, with everything coming out with Hiveswap and FriendSim, I wanted to talk more about that. And then with the whole Tumblr purge, where everyone was moving to Twitter, I still have a Tumblr. Socially Anxious Dragon and Jax Does Homestuck are my Tumblrs. But I came over to Twitter, SA Dragon Tweets, which I had a Twitter for a while, but I never really used it. But with the with everyone moving from Tumblr over to Twitter, I got into the Twitter side, the Twitter Homestuck fandom, and I just got more into it there. I followed a lot more people. I got involved in a voice acting project, and creating a podcast. I really have to get back into the community and be a part of it for that. So just kind of the Tumblr migration really helped me out there. I mean, still sucks what Tumblr did, but I mean, a lot of people got over into the Homestuck Twitter, which is very alive and very wonderful for the most part. And I'm definitely happy about that. And here's the big question. What does Homestuck mean to you? And I have a lot of good answers here. It's a community that's always been there. There's more ways to present media and new barriers to break. And there's one person that I'm going to kind of skim over what they say, because it's kind of personal, and I don't want to, I don't know, they didn't say not to read it or anything, but I just want to kind of skim over it. But they had just gone through a lot of trouble. They had just had some problems with their education. They had problems with their mental health. They had problems with their gender identity. But Homestuck being fun and goofy and kids their age and going through similar things was so personal, and it was such good writing, and it helped them not overcome, but it helped them get through with their learning disability, and also help them write better. And it's just, it did a lot for them. And I'm really glad that there are stories like this, because Homestuck definitely helped me a lot. And so to see it help other people a lot is always fantastic. It also gave the person a reason to start swearing. So really, that's probably the best, is making sure you can start swearing. And then there's more talk about how Homestuck is an endless vat of creativity, kind of that literature sandbox that someone else was talking about. And they haven't found another fandom so full of creativity and fan works, and especially for music, because there's a lot of great musicians out there for Homestuck. And I'll be talking more about that here in a couple episodes, I think. So that's very exciting. And some more people talking about the community, and it helped them write, it helped them get more creative, it helped them talk to people, and it just was something that they grew up with, which is really great. And just creating that wonderful community. And I'm really happy that Homestuck means so much to people, and that they've kept with it, and that we do have this community here, and we're all able to get together and appreciate Homestuck. And on this the 10th anniversary of Homestuck. I really hope, whatever is happening today is very exciting, I'm sure. And I just really hope that we continue on being a great community no matter what happens. There's always going to be bad eggs in every fandom, but I think overall we are really great with that. And I would have to say, for me, Homestuck means, like other people said, like a community. It got me back into drawing. I hadn't drawn for a while because I used to doodle all the time in class. I never really did it much after high school or after I dropped out of college. And then I started getting back into Homestuck, and I just really wanted to draw a Kanaya. So it got me back into that. It got me back into writing. I've made some friends because of Homestuck. I'm in a voice acting project, which is fantastic because I love voice acting. I love talking a lot, if you can't tell, because I have my own podcast. So it's really done a lot for me. It's been a huge creative outlet for me, and it really means a lot. And it's so great. And just being able to see some of the representation that's in Homestuck, while it's not perfect, it's good. It's more than I thought we would get from a webcomic like that, So I really just appreciate what Homestuck has done. And so I'm going to leave off with some more from Abby, Space Arby's on Twitter. And by the way, if you're watching a video of this, the image that I'm using for this was made by DJ Doodles Art on Twitter, and I'll have a link down below, and I'll try to have a link to the image if I can, for those of you who aren't watching the video. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone who contributed to this, everyone who filled out the survey. It was great. I loved being able to read through what Homestuck means to everyone. And I think Abby really summed up a lot of it. So I'm going to, like I said, end with her finishing up her summary of why she likes Homestuck and what Homestuck means to her.
You know what? No, I have more to say. The thing about Homestuck is the more important thing isn't even the comic itself and the amazing writing and all of that shit. It's the fandom. It's the people who interact with it. It's the fandom that has reclaimed it so much that the death of the author is canon. The author literally dies in comic, and the people who read Homestuck have taken control of that narrative. And that's what's really awesome. But more than that is, I'm going to get into the people in the fandom, because despite all the discourse online and all of the infighting, I've never met a Homestuck who ridiculed me in person. I've never gone to a con, met another Homestuck, and felt bad afterwards. The first time I ever went to a convention, I was so terrified because there were thousands and thousands of people, and I was just a little 7th grader who had so much anxiety. And I was running around in the stupid Homestuck cosplay, and I saw this big group of Homestuck cosplayers just running around and chanting shit. And I thought, man, I'd love to be there. And I walked by, and they just called me over. They just called me over, and I spent 2 days running around with these people who I'd just met, who were so enthusiastic about the same thing that I was. And that was what really started my whole getting out of my shell thing. And I didn't even see any of them ever again, but that has still impacted me. The kindness and empathy I was shown, despite not even knowing who I was. They just saw those orange candy corn horns and that gray skin on my face and decided, hey, I know what that is, and you're with us now. It's just really great. I love everybody in this freaking fandom, and I'll never be able to forget what those people did for me. So yeah, that's why Homestuck is important to me.